A very good afternoon altogether on this Friday evening here in Germany and on the rest of the world. Thank you very much for tuning in here into my live stream. I want to thank you. Hello to our flight today from Gran Canaria to Jerez de la Frontera, the next Terra-Fly step in our tour. And as you know, I'm the Xchecklist grader for the actual Zibo mod, and we will talk and answer questions all to this during the stream. If you have any questions on this, do not hesitate to contact me in the chat or come to our Discord server, which is also linked in the description below. And then we can tune in together, talk something, and yeah, let's go start ahead with our flight today in the evening. Weather looks good for now. Just take a look or turn around here. In Gran Canaria, yeah, it's a beautiful airport here. And some traffic here on site. We'll fly on Ivao, as always. Actually, there's only one controller online. For some minutes ago, there was some traffic online, and yeah, maybe they will come back again. So, departure is in 45 minutes, so we will do the exterior inspection checklist and everything else as planned normally. So, we can start now with our battery. put this to on. And the first thing we'll do is the dome light coming on. And then we will check everything else. The bus transfer is closed, the engines, the electric hydraulic pumps are off, and then we can switch on the wheel light and the steady lights for this. Good. Continue ahead with our fire control checks. Yes, they're coming. And the APU also. So, then we connect the ground power here. We need the GPU and external at the moment. Connect there, and then we can switch on the lightnings. Exterior lights, and we do the antenna test. Ground call button. And we then continue ahead. Switch on the electric hydraulic pumps. And they can check now the exterior expansion checklist. Then the next thing we will go. I will pop up this because it's new to our new checklist. Some versions ago. And not many have seen this. The follower of my stream know this. Yeah. Let's start here with our probes and sensors. Looking good. Static ports also. The red room surface is not damaged. The lightning diverter strips 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks also undamaged. The forward E&D door here is fine. Tires and wheels looking good. We will switch on the shocks. Geostructure is also fine. Nose wheel light not simulated but here. And lookout pin to remove this. Spin brake snubbers are here on the top normally, and they stop spinning the wheels after takeoff. So some static ports here. Emergency window handle is flush and surface. Doors and exit panels are closed. So alternate static port is here. There's alternate static port. And we can continue to the rear amulet. We'll check that the deflector door is extended and open. It is. And also the pneumatic panel here. Water drain mast are looking good. And the exterior lights are undamaged. Leading edge flex looking fine. Cooling fan curve from the vortex here, undamaged. Fan blades, fine. No bird inside. And the throttle sensor is also good. No oiling for here. And no oil leak below, so that's good. Good engine condition. The thrust reversers are stowed. The screws are tightened, and all the fan blades are looking good. Exhaust and take on also. Good, continue. With our exhaust panels are closed, and the fuel measuring sticks are flush and surface. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. And then the last one is the fuel tank bank. There's no obstruction. So leading edge flaps, clear and undamaged. Strobes and lights. And this airport is strange here. So strobes and position light looking good. Undamaged static discharges also. Aileron and trailing edge flaps. Good, no icing here. And flap fairings 1, 2, number 3. Undamaged. Good. Continue with our right main gear. Chocks are in place. Tires and brakes and wheels are in good condition. Yes, looking good. Gear structure is undamaged. Every part is in place. We do not see the hydraulic lines. And we continue here in the wheel well. Okay. Doors and access panels are also closed. Negative pressure relief is here. Closed. The APU door is open. The outflow valve. And probes and sensors are fine. Static ports are and clear and undamaged. And the scale kit here is also undamaged. APU inlet and also outlet is nothing unusual. Let me check here if I can hear you. Yes, I can hear my voice, so that's fine. Last stream I had some problems there, and yeah. I streamed about 30 minutes without any voice, so that was fantastic. So I completely changed my setup. Hopefully now everything is solved. So we continue our scale. It was fine. APU exhaust outlet also. Strobe lamps are looking good. Vertical stabilizer and the rudder here is very fine. Nothing to see there and damage. The vents and here also good on the fear probes. Number 2. Horizontal stabilizer also looking fine, and the discharge switches here, 2 on the right side, in place. The same for the left side here. Good. We continue today a little bit faster than normal. We want to take off. We have 2 hours flight today. Static ports and the doors and access panels are closed. We continue to the chocks on the left main gear as the same as on the right side, and the tiers and wheels are in good condition. The structure is undamaged. Hydraulic lines are in place. Also here the APU and the control cables. Flap fairings 1, 2, 3. And the aileron trailing edge flaps looking good. Static discharge switches are in place. Strobe lines is fine and undamaged. Leading edge flaps is looking good. Fuel 1 tank here is fine, and the few measuring sticks are also flush and visible, no leaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and number 6, the last one. Access panels are closed. And we continue with the engine. Number 1, vortex looking good. Fan blades looking fine. That 12 cylinder is in place. Oil tank and exhaust door is closed. There's the access panel. And the thrust reverser is stowed. Good. General oil condition is no leaks around the ground. And the exhaust and the cone is fine. Fan blades also. Good. Continue with our left wing and the lower fuselage, so leading edge flaps here looking good. LED lights also. Ram inlet is open and clean. And the last thing is the alternate static port, and then we continue inside the couplet. And let's start our preparation. So, switch off the dome light and the flashlight here, and now we continue with our flow. So the first thing is we put on the left thing here on the panel, just here, and that is fine. And start here on the MCP and the console. So, G is down. Left and right engine test. Parking brake is set, idle switches are cut off, and step trim is on normal. And we put now the cargo fire test. It's coming, good. And we can start now our refueling. So we need 7.7 tons, so round up to the nearest 100 plus 100 kilos. So fuel weight imbalance, payload 7.7 tons of fuel. Ground service, call the fuel truck. And let's call also the ground cruise. Drive them up. We will open the doors and the service doors here. Good. And then we continue. We switch on the panel lighting here, the floodlight. The airons are 3 and 0. Rudder also. And manual gear sanction door is closed. And P6 circuit breaker panels, there's no one pumped here. Spare valves are in place. The emergency escape rope also. We put now on the flight control recorder tests. Extinguished, Mach speed warning test, and stall warning test also. Put this mix selector on the jump seat to FLT. And engines are on, and the ESC is on. Crew oxygen is fine and enough for the flight. And we have 6 screen above, 6 screen below. And switch on the navigation system. HTTSTS, it's aligning. Doing the flaps tests. Emergency escape rope here on the left side. And the P18 circuit breaker panel. The circuit breakers are also fine. Popped. Good. Continue with our lights test. Upper overhead. Check on the redundancy that every spare bulb is there, and we have 2 of them in each lighting system. So good. It's looking fine. This one is normal. This is also good. And fail unlock is okay. Good. Do the autopilot tests. And for the first officer also. Good. Lights test closed, and we continue with the preparation. Voice. That was the check for the airflow. Lights are up. And switch on the main panel. Background, ADS flood. Time and date is on UTC. Nose wheel steering is on norm position. Main panel is on norm, lower EDU is on norm, and we can now go to the EFIS, select airport and territory, and we search now for our QNH. So look at the meter for our airport here in Gran Canaria, so GCLP. Send. And the ATIS, we've got winds from 0 to 0 is 23 knots. Visibility more than 10 kilometers, broken 3500 and 18 degrees and dew point 10. So a QNH of 1022 with no significant changes, so 1022. We set this also on the standby altimeter. And we continue with the MF ray, which is about 1000 feet above our actual height. So we have here, and we round up to the next 10, so we have 120, and then at 1000 feet, 1120. Correct. Which is set. You can follow all my my performance and everything I do with my Xchecklist. If you go to the thread and open the pictures, you can follow each point of this. So if you have a question, ask me. So main panel on norm, system test, long hold, 3 seconds for the first flight of the day, and for turnaround just a short shot. We set this to UTC. Main panel, lower DU is on norm, brake pressure is normal. Also here airport and territory, 40 nautical miles. We are on Barrow and HPA, which is fine. And then we are ready with the preparation for the moment, so we can stop the service here, which is outside. Take a look. They are on the back side door also, so close the doors. Just in time there. Also the service car is driving away. Close the second door. And I think the last one here will go away in a few seconds. Also part here of my Xchecklist optional step 10, I think, set for the ground handling add-on from Ivao Design, and you can use this with this dynamic, so just drive up and if ready and the packages are stored, the baggage, you can just drive away and everything is fine. So don't mention there's no immediate pop-up from the ATS, so you have no instant voice pop-up and leaving here for this add-on. So they're driving and coming, so we have a slowly nice up and growing down. Good. Can close the doors here also, and let's go and start our boarding, which is nearly 25 minutes ahead. We have 160 passengers, so we continue with the payload. 160 packs here, 160 packs. And now I set the total fuel, which is the total payload. This is 19,520, I know that from our dispatcher. Here's it rounded about 19,500, so 90,520 kilograms here for the payload. Good. We can start our flight leg. And now we will jump into the FMC. Check whether the models is the one we are using with winglets. 26K engine, NAFTA actual, and we will now do the ILS alignment, GPSL, set this to IIS position, and we check this with our reference airport here. It's nearly matching. Are there any ATC controls or coordinates shown there? No. So, set our routings and we will fly to Jerez de la Frontera, which is Lima Echo Yankee Romeo. Flight number is Terra-Fly 011 X-ray. Company route GCLP Lima Echo Yankee and Romeo 01. Activate and execute, and now we can set our departure. Active runway was 03 left, I think. Yes, 03 left, and now we will do the Coral 8 Alpha departure, and the arrival runway will be runway ILS Zulu runway 20. And
as you find your seat, please stow your larger carry-on luggage in the overhead bin and place any
we will
smaller
do
items
the
in the
VHSA
front of you.
to Sierra
Stow in your rollerboard,
arrival.
with a
So
handle
let's
and
check
first wheels out.
our
Let a flight
chart,
attendant know if you need any
which transition we need.
help. On this flight, we offer personal device entertainment, one of United's private screening options. A
Coach Alice Zulu.
You may use your small, lightweight devices such as mobile phones, tablets, and e-readers. While we're parked at the gate, larger
It will be
devices,
Asus,
such
I
as
think.
laptops and DVD players may be used until we're ready to depart. At
We'll
that time,
just
it must be
check
so
the
that everyone
matching.
can see in front of you in the
Arrival.
overhead compartment. Seated in an exit row, please review the row responsibilities on the safety card. A flight attendant will be coming through shortly to ensure you're comfortable with these responsibilities. Flight attendants, please brief your exits.
To Sierra. Yeah, others, yes, that it is. Okay, so others is our point here we need, and we'll check the routing. Just take a look, step by step. The departure, which is here. We'll check now also the coordinates. So, ACOS above 1100. Yes, above. No speed restriction. At Islet 4000 below. And then outbound radial 062 of Gran Canaria VOR. Inbound radial Coral. Above flight level 310 above. Good, it's fine. So, we will do this. Also check the rest of the routings. There's no discontinuity. Yes, looking good. And then to the arrival. Good, okay. We continue with our zero fuel weight. Oh, I missed the routing here. Also check the progress, that you will have nearly the same ground and air distance, which is 2 nautical miles above. So we have 770, and there's a ground distance of 668. So we have a difference of 2 nautical miles, which is fine. So there's no problem with the routing. And also the fuel. Oh, we have just not any of this, so we'll check this now. Their free weight, which is something we will enter now, which is 62.6 tons. Or we can, yes, enter this here. This is matching reserves, our alternate and Fenris. So we go to our initial page, alternate and Fenris, which is about 1 ton here and another 1.2 tons, so we have 2.2 tons here. I will round up this to the nearest 100. So, and cost index is 35 and flight level will be 350. And then we will set our cruise wind from our top of climb at Coral there, which is 289er. With 83 knots and an ISA deviation of +5, so just at 5. If it's minus, just put this here. Transition altitude of the charts here, we'll check, is 6,000 feet on the SID, matching, so that's good. Then we'll go to the next page and we will set our average wind. The next waypoint after top of climb is Coral. So we go to the map page, and that's very important. Then we can see here the RT button. We go there and we will search for Coral. This also can vary. The winds are maybe sometimes before or after. We will use the waypoint here as written in the FMC. So we have Coral and the first waypoint after the top of climb, and then we can set the average wind, which is on the first page here with 305 and 52.5 knots. Just that this, and every wind behind will be set there. So we have a correct wind correction and calculation on our cruise level, and also we set this here for our climbing. So the descent will be done later, and everything is fine then. Good. So this is done, and the performance is set, so we can now do our overhead scan flow. Yeah. So we check here all the flight spoilers are in the normal position, they are closed, navigation is on normal, FMC is on normal, source and display are on normal. The crossfeed valve we will check later. The first thing is we will check here the fuel. We have 7.7 tons and nothing in the center tanks, so we leave the center tanks offline. And we will use it above 461 kilos in the center tank. So switch on the fuel pumps and then we'll check the crossfeed. Check is dimmed and off, so that's fine. And we continue to the APU gen. Cabin utility I believe set is closed. Bus fast runs closed again. Cooling supply on normal, and we will now put this fasten belts to on. If the refueling is completed, it is. So check now the fuel, the direct plunger, which is 0 and 0. That's very important. And then we will switch on the window heats to on. Trim air to on, and we have 18 degrees. So 18 degrees, 1 to the right, 2 to the right, and 3 to the right. X to auto. Bleed is off. Flight level 350. And our arrival altitude is 100 feet. Round up to the nearest 50, which is now 100. So we will light off. Local lights we can switch to on, but it's darkness outside. All the rest of the lights are off here, and the engine start switches on auto position. So then go to the MCP. We will switch on the first flight director on the flying side, which is the captain on the left at the moment. And we will set our departure here. Which is 026 and then 062 for the outbound radial. There's no NDB or anything else. And initial climb. Do we have an initial climb here on the right side? Nothing really written, but we need to be above flight level 310 there at Coral and RAWDATA, so we can go through the complete altitude to flight level 350. We will check on the departure if there's any ATC controller online again, and this is fine. The heading is set, the banks are all set to 25 degrees, so it's also fine. And then we go down here to the middle panel. We will check that the speed revs and the inner set is on auto. That's very important, so if you change something here, then you have false departure speeds. Yeah. With that, the fuel rate, all the brakes are RTO, and the flaps is in up position, also matching here on up. Yes. System pressure we'll check now. So just on symptom page above 2800 psi. Very good. And then we can continue. Flight lever and speed brakes on idle detent. And we will set now our departure frequency here. Let me look if there's any ATC controller available. No? Not in Gran Canaria at the moment. So we set here our airport frequency. tower 11830, which is here also on standby, and the initial frequency for Unicom on Ivao. And we will set then our raw data back off here 1150, and set then Gran Canaria VR, which is 11290, and then we will switch back there inbound to Lanzarote, which is 11520. So I would say we will do a raw data departure here today to see how to navigate with raw data in our flight. So FLT2, good evening, DFLB. Thank you very much, David, for your subscription and for your donation. Thank you again. He says, for this, what you all do here for our Terra-Fly. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I will try my best here. So, FMC and mix selectors are set, and we now close the doors and start our tracking reminder. That is on my personal Xchecklist here. I only have something what I do not miss there, yeah. And our FS Airlines client is one of this. I've done this once. Yeah. I made a 6 hours flight and my client was not started, so I will never do this again. Fuel up and flight. So flight is started and we can continue now. The next thing we will do is the performance. Yes. We have 10 minutes up to our departure, so we can now start the APU. And meanwhile, this will start. We need this 1 minute loadless. We'll do our short briefings there. Yeah. Before we do this, we will do our checklist. That's the first thing, or the next thing we will do at the moment. So we will jump into the cockpit overhead flow here, and let me do the before start checklist. So IRS mode selectors are on nav position, GPIMs are removed, we done this outside with the outside exterior inspection checklist, and the light tests are checked in the middle. Oxygen was tested 100% here, and your dampers are on. Nav transfer and display switches are on normal. These are here and here. And fuel is 7.7 on board and 7.6 was required, and the fuel pumps are on, center tanks are off. So emergency exit lights is armed, and fasten belts are on, and window heat is also on. Air conditioning pressure packs are on auto and bleeds are on. Instruments are cross-checked 0 to 6, 062, and we have then our indication of flight level 350 heading 0 to 6. Auto brakes are on RTO. Speed brake is down to 10, parking brake is set, stop trim switches are on normal, and we will firewall when we check this. Radius and radar transponder are set on standby. Yes. FMC CDU was set, and N1 EOS bugs we will do now. So let's do our performance. I use, by the way, this checklist here is also part of my this glacial checklist here. So, one of the additional parts of my X checklist, which will be found in the official Zibo mod extension and here on the description below. You can print this out, use it here on your desk as I do, and then it's very handled. Yeah. We will do now the performance. You can use TopCat or also the free version I posted in the description of my Xchecklist. And we will do now the takeoff performance, so update the meter there. There's only a heading of winds of 010 with 23 knots. QNH is still 1022, and we will set now the computing with flaps 5 departure. So we have a flaps 5 departure with 24K and D-rate saloon temperature of 36 degrees. So jump into the cockpit here, and one limit 36 degrees, tier 1 with 24K. This is what we calculated here. And then go to the takeoff page, set flaps 5 and center of gravity. We'll see that is prim 5 units, which is now set. Center of gravity 70.5. We will check this also here on the fuel weight and balance payload page on page 4, and we have a CG engine loop. So this is very important to look at, that you are inside of the limits. So takeoff page, you will check there that you are here in the white page. The landing weight must be below the green line. So we'll see when we will do our arrival, we will be fine. So if this dot is here above, so you are too heavy. So get less fuel, or you have to put some holdings there before the arrival. Zero fuel weight is near the maximum zero fuel weight. That means we are nearly full of the airplane, so we have very much packs on board and much of cargo. So we need a lot of runway at this evening here on our flight to Jerez de la Frontera. Our operational weight is also fine. So our takeoff weight is here looking good, and we are above the 26K line, so we can do everything here from 22K up to 26K. If this dot is between this here, for example, here on the middle line, so we cannot do there at 26K, 22 and 24K. So, fine. We will go now, not entering these values here. We first add the takeoff page reference 2 of 2, and we have a runway condition which is dry. The odd is 18 degrees, matching, yes, 36 degrees absolute temperature, and we add our runway wind actual. We will do send the meter again. Meanwhile, I can say we have a heading of 0 to 6 and a slope of minus 4%. So that means down or minus 0.4 and a heading of 0 to 6. And then we can say our wind conditions, which is 0 to 0 with 23 knots. So, cut back, we will check our charts here. In general, we are here on Tango 06. Yeah, that is our parking position actual. Our departure will be in the north configuration here. To runway 03 left, we will stand on T06. That means we will go taxiways via Romeo 12, Romeo 11, gate echo, taxiways 3, Romeo 3 and Romeo 2. That means we will go here from Romeo 12, Romeo 11, and then echo Romeo 3, and downstairs to Romeo 2 and up to the runway 026. So there's actually no NADP1 or NADP2 noise abatement departure. So this is something you will normally see when you go into the page and take a look at our your departure charts. Yeah, you can steer there and go to the airport and check the briefings here for the departure. If there's anything written with noise between departures, NADP1, NADP2, then you can just simplify this when pressing here the cutoff button to on, and then everything is working and will fulfill every of these two conditions. So, if you have this checklist, you will see there when you have the flaps up. Yeah, that's the difference between NADP1 and NADP2. So, go back. We will now calculate the values, which is 143, 145 and 150. And we will set our, compare this with our calculation, which is 146, 146, 150. So we have two there on V1 and one on VR on the difference. So that is fine. We will use the low values here, and you can see we are on the fine right side. And also an N1 of 92.3%, which is quite fine. Good. Set this 150 here for the max speed and the S-Bucks. And we are now ready to go. Continue with our checklist. So, NN1 ES-Bucks are auto and set. Strap trim auto are 150 knots. Set. Step trim is a 5.0 units required and set. And DFB is stored. Flight deck doors and cockpit doors are closed. Not. We'll do now the drive away and close our cargo doors. Restrict the air stairs and close the front door. You will see that it's very important that you use the checks. Zibo does automatically close all doors if you do the push back, but you will do this normally also. One. Close the door, please. Cockpit door and engines are closed, so before start, checklist above the line is completed. And we can now go to our ground service and disconnect the GPU. Let's take a look if there's any ATC ground. No, there's no one available, so we can set our squawk now to our own code, which is my Terra-Fly number 0361. And we can continue now. Ground service, better pushback. Request.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
And I will just connect the
Ground to cockpit.
truck first. If there's any ECU controller available or not, I will always connect this first. Then I am ready to go if I get some facing left or right, and don't have to change anything. Good. APU was fine started, so we can now switch on the APU valves and the packs to off. And we will do the next checks here. That means air conditioning packs are off, anti-collision light is now on. Parking brake is set and transponder is still out of, so before start checklist below the line is completed. And we are ready for push and start.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright, we've got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
So what will be the first thing we will do after departure? We will stay on the heading, yeah, and also do a warlock, following the command A button, and then following radial, and then once we reach there, the outbound radial of our next VR, which is Gran Canaria, and then we will switch there before to autopilot B, and then it will turn automatically to the right side and following the outbound course of 062. Yeah, we will see that. Good. Come on, guy. How far are you? Are you ready? I think so. What is he doing now? Oh, he's doing a pushback. Normally, without any planks, also fine. Let me look what he's doing. I've never done a pushback without any plannings. I never know that he will start there. Okay, let's fire up engine number 1. Number 2, sorry, number 2. So, maybe we'll do a straight pushback. We will see. So, engine number 2, weight up to 25% and 1 and 2. You can start earlier, but you won't get a hot start, so just wait until 25%. Oh, where do you want to push us? Disconnect. Is that a manual push here? Okay, let's try. Fire up engine number 1. What he's doing? I want to disconnect. Come on. Terminate.
Stand by.
Okay. 26%. Fire up engine number 1. So, if you do no planning, you will go do a straight pushback, and yeah, you have to stop yourself and terminate the leg. Also good to know. Okay, we can do now and shut off the dome light. And let's do now our before takeoff checklist. So the engine generators are on, APU is off, and switch the start is continuous, and switch on the probe lights.
The
probe vents.
And bypass pin has been removed. And signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Yes, thank you. So we also can set here our cabin lighting to takeoff and medium. And stop doing anything from there. So generators on, APU is off, structures are on, continuous anti-ice is not required, air conditioning packs are auto, bleeds are on, isolation valves auto, flaps are now. If we see the bypass pin, yes, there's the bypass pin. Now we can set the flaps 5, and do our checks here with our yoke. So full forward, center, full back, center, full left, center, full right, center, and the rudder checks, full left, center, full right, center. And let's do the recalls checked. So before taxi checklist is completed, and then this can be thrown away for the flight, the rest of the flight, since we're reaching our gate, and we're now using the checklist. So continue ahead. We can switch on now the taxi and runway lights. Release the parking brake, and we do a short takeoff config test. No config warning. And we start taxiing here. Let us take a look where we are. So, there's the taxi chart. So, we are on the way to Jerez Frontera on Romeo 12. continue to Romeo 11, and then we have to leave via Bay Echo up to taxiway Romeo 3, Romeo 2, and then to the runway. There's no entry. You also see that here, the sign, and also on the chart. And the next way is Echo there. Slow down a little bit. Where's Echo? Must be next to us. That looks like the cargo base here. Okay, Echo was still there, so we taxi left. Ah, there's Echo. Or not. And continue Romeo 3, Romeo 2. So we set and get the cabin crew seated. Let us check if there's any plane next to us. No, not really. So we are free for departure. Set us a little bit of thrust and we continue to our runway. So we got there Romeo on left. We can close this chart here. And we will do the RAWDATA navigation. Departure here. So Romeo 2 and now Romeo 1 left. This is the taxi we want to go. So there's stop line. So this is the first one here. And switch on the parking brakes. So we're now ready and there's no DC controller available, so we can do now the takeoff departure checks. So auto throttle and armed, and we will do VNAV to on. Also the performance is not executed, I see. So VNAV to on. And yeah, we will set heading mode. And we can now go ahead. Weather radar to on. And set our transponder to Terra, and yeah, we can take off checklist flaps 5 green lights, and stabilizer trim is 5.0 units set, and before takeoff checklist is completed. So we'll line up the runway, strap on to steady. We have clear left here. Check on pilot, co-pilot also. There's no one incoming. Clear right. Line up the runway. Good. Runway landing lights on. We will do this there on latest here, or normally here, to not blind anyone. So, ready to go. Set the EGT and 40% and thrust. Wait until reaching, and then we push the toga button. Push the forward control ball onto the front. Stay on the center line.
80 knots.
Now at 80 knots you can release the control column. 92.6% indications normal.
V1, rotate.
Rotate. 2.5 degrees. Follow the flight directors. And gear up.
400.
So, we'll switch now to war mode.
1000.
Now we can switch on the autopilot. Command A. We're in the limits. Auto brakes to off. And select Warlock. Now we'll see it will follow our radial. We can also set here the second one. And once we reach there, if we are on track, we can adjust the heading mode. You will see the needles are coming. And if once this gets here inside, we will now do the rest. So continue ahead. We will do our after takeoff checks. So APU is off, and the start switches. We will put this here to auto, and APU is off. Engine bleeds are APU bleed is off, and normal bleed is on. PEX auto isolation valve is on auto, and we can release the cabin crew. Put this G handle to off, and after takeoff checks with flaps up. So now we are on the center line and the radial. We have above 10 degrees, so we have no icing condition there. Flaps 1. And flaps up. So after takeoff checklist is completed. Once we are now on this track here, we set the heading mode, follow on the track, and set command B, also with Warlock. So that means we are now on heading mode, following heading 028, yeah, on the track mode here. And we set the command B, following we want to go to the 026 radial, following here the outbound radial of Gran Canaria 112.9er, yeah. And you see, you will, once we reach here this needle, it will turn automatically following the Warlock of command B. We will check this here. So now the needle is coming. And you will see heading mode switches automatically to off and it turns to the outbound track. Setting on the altimeters. And you will see he is following the needles and the radial. Exactly. So, the next is we will do now switch here to this. That means we will put on there 11520. The second frequency, which is now active. We can adjust our heading. And once we reach nearly the war, we can continue to crawl following radial 060 outbound. So we will switch the course now 060. Yeah. Inbound 062. To Lanzarote, yeah, and outbound radial 060. Yeah. So we can check the distance here. Gran Canaria VOR is 15 dmi behind us, and Lanzarote VOR is about 105 dmi in front of us. Yeah. So we are above 10,000. We will do our pre-cruise checks. Landing lights to off, runway turn-off lights off, taxi lights off, and logo lights also off. These are not needed on this height. So we will do the after takeoff checks there again with the differential pressure, which is 4.1 units climbing. You will see the climbing there. 500 feet preservation feelings for the PEX, and the preservation is on auto. And bleeds are on, APU bleed is off, left pack is auto, right pack is auto, isolation valve is auto. So we'll do now the check here and release the crew and the packs to go to their toilet. Also we switch now to cruise mode. We are on flight level 10,000 above. And we are ready to climb to flight level 350. So you will see we do not have any heading or LNAV available at the moment, and we are still on RAWDATA navigation without using the FSD, just following the radials. This is very easy here. Well, so this is a good explanation. If you start or want to try to start your first RAWDATA navigation in your plane, then you can use this here. This is very easy. So, good. Looking good. Let's check here our legs page. And where we are at the moment. Yeah, we're leaving Gran Canaria. And we will fly there over Morocco, or near the coast of Morocco, over Casablanca. And straight ahead here to the south of Spain, in Jerez de la Frontera. There's our arrival here. Yeah, that's our airport there. On the south coast of Spain, next to good. I thought this will be about 2 hours flight today. and everyone who is joining actually, or just joined the stream. I want to say thank you very much for your support and visiting this channel. So if you think that's fine here, just put the through up, or you can leave a donation or subscription, everything you want to do, and join our Discord here to chat with us, and also here in the live chat. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask me. If you are coming to our Discord channel, you can get some further or easier earlier pre-versions of the checklist, and get the stream news, and can ask everything you want to know. So that's fine, and also do some support, or get some support if you need to for some help for installation for this checklist, or if you have questions, we can do a short voice support there and some discussion, and also I will do stream flight with my Discord users in the near future, if we get there about 100 pilots there online in this stream, in this Discord channel. So this is the first marking I want to reach. Yeah. Good. I would say meantime we are climbing, and once we passed the VOR, I will take a drink there, and we continue with our flight. So yeah. We said our top of climb will be behind Coral, so just take a look there. Coral, and before Coral, so I think this will match top of climb, and there's Coral, so this will be fine. And once we reach the cruise level, we can check, or we will set and check our fuel at each waypoint. This is something you will do to keep an eye on your fuel, that you have enough fuel on board to divert, or to see if there's something wrong with your fuel tanks. Yeah, maybe you have an oil leak in the gear pumps during the flight, or in the pump lines. Yeah, and if you notice that their fuel will drive away from your plant fuel, or faster drive away, and which is growing and growing, then you have to check maybe there's something wrong with the airport and with the aircraft, and following your QH checklist there to identify the problem. Yeah, that is one of the reasons you will do this. Good. $5,000 feet to go, then we will switch off the back there to 10 degrees, the banks. So if we are in this high air, the air density is less than the lower levels, and if you're flying on heading select mode, that means you are on manual mode, and you get a steeper flying a bank of 25 or 30, there's a risk that you will have a stall in this height. So to prevent this, leave this on the banks 10 above flight level 300, and then you do not have a problem when flying on manual mode. On this normal, there's no problem. So that means If you're on autopilot, LNAV, VNAV navigation, the plane is following the limits within itself. Yeah? That's no problem. So, how far we are away from Lanzarote? 50 nauticals. You'll see that here. There's a very long departure chart. And as you see, we are still following the radial of this Gran Canaria VR without any autopilot navigation using LNAV. Huh? That means just following the VNAV navigation up to the height, and the LNAV is still online, only following the Warlock outbound radial 060. Yeah. And once we get near to the Lanzarote VR, we will set command A. Oh, we are following 062 radial, sorry, which is active with command B at the moment. And once we reach this Lanzarote VR, we will switch back to command A with an outbound radial of 060 from Lanzarote, which frequency is 115.20. And we need to be there on flight level 310 above, which is, yes, doable. We can check this manually. Go there and set 310 and the altitude, and you will see on this green banana when you will reach flight level 310. So we are very heavy, so climbing with our performance here at the moment, our CI of 35 is very low. We want to save some fuel for the airline. Good, we are reaching 310 before Lanzarote VR, and we are within the limits of the chart, so that's fine. We will go back there to flight level 350. And this will be catch there or reach shot behind of the VR. Good. So, we are reaching our top of climb, and then we can check the cruise winds there, what we entered according our Zimbrief waypoint. On the top of climb, yeah, as written there, we have 298 with 83. Yeah. And we will see how good is it matching with the real data. I'm using Hi-Fi Zem's ASXP to get good values there. I highly recommend this. The winds are nearly perfect. So 19 DME to Lanzarote. And now we are passing flight level 300. We can do our PA, our level of message. 4,000 feet to go above flight level 300. Do not anyone notice this during the slow climb. So now we leave this still there in this section. switch here back to heading mode that is following this track, and then we can switch on to command B and set the warlock. And now it's following the outbound radial. Try to reach the outbound radial. Of 060. You'll see this now. I will pick on back the needles. Bring this also here back to map mode that we can follow. Seven nautical miles to Lanzarote we are. And we will follow up to Coral, the RAWDATA navigation. Yeah. So now we are passing the VOR. You will see the needles are switching, and we are going now outbound. And the DB is riding again.
1,000 to go.
So this looks very good here at the moment. So, Korsal is our next waypoint, or Coral. Which is now 40 miles, 50 nautical miles ahead. So we'll set that track mode. You will see we have left wind or headwind from the left side. You can see that on the progress page 2. Set the second page there, and this is the matching wind here. 294 with 86 knots. That means we have a tailwind there of 40 knots and the left crosswind of 76 knots. Yeah, that's the reason why we have to set the left track to our heading. That we will follow the track mode as planned on the radial. Oh, Zibo, there is some more pages here. Very good. And we are still flying on RAWDATA backup navigation according to our SID on the outbound radial of Lanzarote up to Coral. Okay. I can now close this chart here. Let's take a look where we are in Frontera. We are on 100 feet. And we can set the standby frequency for the tower, which is 11850. Yes. And we are doing the BJ126 Sierra by departure, coming from the south. Following the initial approach figure of Arthurs. And then we are following the DME arc of this view are here, with this Jerez. You will see this 10 DME arc. Arc means circle, and of Jerez view are. This is something we can also do manually if you want. Some time ago I have done this, but this is also nice to see how to fly a manual DME arc. This is something not very easy thing, but once you have done this, yeah, and you understand how this works, that's possible to do every time. We will do this here from the initial Proflex flying manually. I hope so. Good. And yeah, the final thing is we will go there and do the ILS here on the rails. Good. We can now reset our height. And we are going up to Coral. And we can switch now to LNAV navigation. You will see now, as far as we go ahead from our radial, our misalignment will be bigger and bigger. That's normal. So LNAV is now more correct, and we'll follow the correct flight path. So, but this was quite fine. And our flight time is actually a half hour since we are leaving our departure airport of Gran Canaria. And since then, well, there wasn't any GPS needed till now. And this is something you can do with every airplane, or nearly every airplane. Yeah. And makes still fun. So, go to the map mode. Switch to 40 nautical miles. This is also something you may notice. If you're above 40 nautical miles, your TCAS system won't work correctly. I have noted this. So set this heading back to the next track, and you will now have Coral. And let's check. We have missed our top of climb there. Let's check Coral, the Coral winds. Coral winds in the sim brief there was 291 with 81, and we have actually 294 with 89. So the difference is not huge, yeah. And this is quite fine. We have 3 degrees and yeah, 8 knots. So that's a difference, which is quite exact. So I think the fuel correlation will be very fine here, and we have to be there on minimum 5.4 units of fuel. We have actually 5.5 units on board, yeah, which is above our required fuel. And let's check how much fuel we needed. That on the use page, and we have 2.22 tons. And there was calculated 2.2 tons. Yeah, this round up to 100 kilos. Yes, that's fine, and also matching. So the fuel calculation on Zimbrief is exact here. So the wind is changing a little bit. And let's take a look. Our top of descent is 165 nautical miles ahead, and will be there on 23 or 2357 Zulu. So that means we have 1 hour to our time of descent. So we have some time to discuss, to plan everything else, and get some drinks here. You can type also some questions here in the chat, and yeah, we have a good time. So, one thing is I will do at the moment. Let's stay here on the back, get a drink. I will do also. And I will call you in 5 minutes when I'm back with good beer in the evening. See you in a minute. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back in the cockpit. The drink was absolutely fine. Our stewardess was very good. This drink was fine. I hope the music also. And we are back on our route here, flying to Morocco. And yeah, we are on the way to the south coast of Spain, to Jerez de la Frontera. 400 nautical miles for our top of descent, and the rest of 524 nautical miles. Arrival will be around about 1 hour and 20 minutes or 50 minutes, reaching the gates. So there's some time we can use now and ask you questions. As David, he said, have you tried Xvision? Yes, thank you at first for your Xvision code and everything all this. I did not try this yet. I had so much time to do here with the actual encodings and here with the stream settings. I hope this will be fine today. And if everything is fine, I will try that within the next days. So that is my plan. Yeah. Because I've seen some screenshots and that looks quite realistic here, especially on these shaders and so on. And yeah, I will do. Looks how the performance will do and match within the flights. Actually, we are flying with 55 FPS, so that's quite good. I also recommend everyone here flying using this very good Fly with Lua add-on here, GJ FPS without 11. When you configure this through, you can set up to your hardware, and you always get good visibility, and if you are reaching strange situations, yeah, there won't be a problem, because this plugin will change the vicinity of your scenery to get you back on good FPS. You sit there, and once you reach that and the graphics and your processor is yeah, not full loaded, yeah, it will get this scenery back step by step. You do not see this anything or notice anything from this, so that's quite useful, this tool, especially when flying online there on the approach. Yeah, if you are below the 10 or 20 FPS and reaching your ILS and you are flying on an event day, yeah, and yes, you think you're flying 160 knots and in real life you're flying maybe 80 knots there on the ATC screen, yeah, and everyone will catch you up. Yeah, that's not a good solution there. So keep in mind, always be above in good FPS situations. Good. So what we can do now? We have some time. We can start using at first our next steps for the descent. That means plan the arrival, look at the charts and set up everything in the plane, the winds, the descents and everything else. So this is something you will do normally without 80 to 100 nautical miles in front. You will do a first briefing and set up the plane and everything of theirs, so you can focus and concentrate on the arrival when reaching this ATC controller and following this the instructions of the ATC, because if you set this there later and reaching your toe of descent and following the descent path, you can change this, and this may also happen if the ATC controller says, hey, use another seat, another star and or another runway. This could happen all the time, yeah, that's possible, and you have to react on this, and you have to be in case that you can change and know what you have to change. Yeah, expect change the meter or look at the meter, expect, that's very important thing, expect what the ATC may will answer you, will say to you. So if you'll see the runway meter will change and the wind's coming from the other side and this runway may change, expect this and plan your arrival, change your routings, and yeah, you will see this will be matching every time the ATC controller is asking you. So be forced on this, and this will be quite fine. Good. Okay. So what we are doing at first, check our charts. That's something we do now. As said, take a look at Frontera. It will be 100 feet above ground level. Above the sea level, main sea level, that means above main sea level, AMSL. ATC frequency of the tower is 125.650 for the recording messages. Ground frequency 121.6. Tower, there's something we need on the Ivao. If the ATC controller will be bare, just mostly it happens twice to me that an ATC tower controller come online and said contact me on the tower frequency blah 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 blah, and this was 2 nautical miles or 4 nautical miles in front of the threshold. So expect this as a set by frequency, and if there's any ATC controller coming online, yeah, you just have to push their button and you are on the right frequency, though there won't be any problems. If you're on the final, you have to concentrate and focus on the final, and if you start turning the noobs, yeah, this won't be good for you. Also, then do turn around. I recommend this if you did not do this. So, okay, so this is something we noticed at the moment. The next steps, we're looking at the SID and the star. Check the legs page. We will search the viewpoint, VUR. This is our first waypoint of the star, and we have to be there on flight level 100 above, which we will definitely be. So there will be only 22 nautical miles from flight level 255, so I think we will be there at flight level 210 or so. Yeah, so this restriction we will fulfill definitely, and we continue this sit there on the VHS 332S to Sierra. We have to be there on above flight level of above 5,000 feet. Flying there to our initial approach, which is others, yeah, and to all the guys who are listening to the stream or are new to the aviation there, for the commercial aviation for example, the initial approach rig is the point where your final approach will start. That's the end of the star, and the beginning of the final approach. That means if you do not get any response from or clearance for the from the ATC controller, yeah, from the approach or anything else, or the center, that you get can land on this runway or approaching this runway, then you have to stay there on this initial approach tracks and do some holdings. Yeah, that means you stay there. You have to be in mind, if there's an ATC controller available and you do not answer anything, do not fly, continue flying if you approach. Stay here on others and do some holdings. Yeah. I've got this once. Yeah, an ATC controller. There was much traffic there, and yeah, ATC controller didn't notice that I'm reaching my my EF point here, and yeah, I get into holdings, and he asked me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing your initial approach fix holdings, yeah, as planned on the star, yeah." And he said, "Oh, you're absolutely right." You know, so that's something you will do, yeah, also in reality. Yes. So, holding, 260. In the last stream we did some holdings and how to program a holding. I recommend this. Short explanation, go to the next page and holdings. Plan a holding there on the next page, and then you can enter this searching your home rate and type in your inbound radial. Yeah, that means this 260, that's the beginning, and then the left turn, that means 260/left. Yeah, normal holdings are 1 minute, or 1 minute there, up to flight level 170, then it's 1.5 minutes, and yes, we go ahead. Take a look at our legs page, then there others. You see the legs holding here is also programmed, but this is the missed approach procedure. So Niso, Osam, Adobe, Pisic, others. So, and there's initially up to 003 Juliet. And following this waypoint there. Okay, what we are doing now. At first, we will set the meter and everything else up to the meter following this. So that means, let's check this. Our arrival is Lima Echo Vicky Romeo, Juliet Romeo. Set this and receive the meter, which is 350 with 4 knots. Yeah, that means wind is coming there from the left side. Can we use also another runway? Let's take a look. Approach. Yeah, there's no ILS available, so the normal approach will be the ILS once here. We can use the VOR ADB approach of runway 02, the VOR approach. Or maybe you can circle not to land. Yeah. Yes, we can do. And yeah, this will be fine. I think this is a good idea. So let's do this. We will do here flying this approach. And once we reach here the DME arc, we fly the ILS. And then we will do a circling landing here on runway 02, yeah, because runway heading is theirs. The meta winds are coming from 350, so we have much thing to do today, and I think this will be nice. So, good thing, we will plan as we land here on runway 350. We can land there. We have only 4 knots from behind, so this is still valid. Yeah, I will show you here on my chart that we can normally also land with tailwind. That's no problem for this plane. We can land a maximum operational tailwind. By the way, this charts you can take a look there, and this description you can download it and use it. Just print it out and use it. I will use this all the time. So this is something I made to calculate. So the max operational tailwind landings, yeah, for the airplane is minus 10 knots. Yeah, for the tailwind components. For the manual auto land, we will always use BREF plus 5, and the maximum limits are 10 knots. So we have a runway heading of let's take a look. (203), so we will add a minus 180 knots. That means we have 23 degree when we are doing a circle landing. So 23, and wind is coming from 350, so we have 33 degrees of misalignment there in our wind components. So 32 degrees. Oh no, sorry, I'm wrong. We are landing on 205 when we are landing normal, yeah, and wind is coming from behind, and then we have 23 degrees of minus 180, so we have 160, 155. Everything about this here. So, and we have a wind of less than 10 knots. We have 4 knots, so we are quite fine within the limits. Yeah, that's absolutely no problem there. So we can go and do table landing. Yeah. Good. The same from the crosswind side if we are doing the circle landing. As we said, we calculated 33 degrees off track if we are landing on runway 02. Yeah. And so 33, we use 35. That's more. We have 4 knots, that's less than 10, so I will calculate here with this value 6. So 6 is within the limits, that is quite fine. We can do also AutoCAD tree landing if there's one available, but doing the circle unit, circle is always a usual approach. I will talk to you about circling manually later on. So we are on the limits for crosswind landing, also here when we are doing the circling. Yeah? Good. So what we are set now is the QNH of 1025, 1025, and also here on the standby altimeter 1025, 1025 set. You can also set the approach mode on, and we will do now and yeah, take a look at our chart. Normally, if we will land, we will use these values. But at first, I will add the descent windows. This is something I do before I want to discuss the circling landing. Just put in some brief values for the winds. Let's get on the button here for my checklist. There. We will first add the descent winds. This is something we do first. Okay, top of descent and then the descent winds. That's something we do first. So descent, forecast. We have a QNH of 1025 and we will add the winds first here. So we are on flight level 350, so we add 310. 3100, that is the lower value, and something there between, 200. So we have 3 different wind situations where we can enter the winds for the descent. So FMC is calculating this descent quite perfect, and yeah, Zibo is using this QNH, all of these values now on the forecast page to calculate his top of descent more correctly since the last version. So we have there 016 with 44 knots, and flight level 200 we have 331 with 050, and on flight level 200 we have 337 with 34 knots. Good. That are the way descent winds here. And now let's take a look. Enter the QNH 1025 and now set the transition level. Yeah. back to my written chart. Transition level is transition altitude plus transition layer at the local QNH. We have 1025, which is in the range of plus 1000 feet. So take a look at our arrival chart here, and it says we have a transition altitude of 6000 feet plus 1000, means our transition level is 070. This transition level is very important for the Xchecklist usage when you are flying out of Europe, for example in the US or in Canada also. You will have this transition level above flight level 180, and that means you get popped up the US checklists version, which are maybe a little bit different than the Europe's ones. So always keep in mind to set your transition altitude on the performance page and your transition level always correct as on the charts or written on the charts. So if you're flying in US, Canada or in Austria, then flight level 180 is the way to go there on the transition level. The rest you can use my calculation sheet. Good. So descent forecast winds are set, and we are now doing the runway fixes. Normally I will say yes, we are approaching here, and I will set my 10 miles ring for the flaps 5 and my 4.5 miles ring for the final approach configuration. But this time, as I said, we will fly the manual DME arc here, and then we continue the ILS, and then we will do a circling landing there on this runway 026, yeah, or 020. This is something we will do, so I will change this runway information fix a little bit later, yeah, when we are discussing about this. So, but I will add this DME arc here. This is 10 DME, so /10. But we need to add this VOR first. So this is IGR and /10. So now we have this radial here in the screen with the FMC. What we are doing also is we want to reach their the heading track of 203, which is also the inbound course of the VOR, yeah, and we will step through the DME arc. That means we will go there on warlock mode, and I will set here the track manually, the heading mode, following the DME arc, and I will also set here the course every 10 degrees here, beginning with the 203. So that means I will start there. You will see we have here 08, yeah, that's the first thing we will start, and we will set 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140 and 150 and so on and so on, yeah, reaching 200. So the inbound radial, then there will be 23. Am I right? Yes. 180, 23. So inbound radial is 23 to our our course is then 203, which is the inbound course here. And we will start then using the second autopilot there. We will set this also. We will then land or flying the autopilot here following the ILS with command B later on. So we'll set this 203 and we'll set the ILS frequency. of 10890. So, if we are landing there, we were following the glide slope. I'm going to set the standby frequency for the VOR also, 11300. So that means in the final, I will switch there later on command B, following the warlock on the approach button there. And I will start here. Yeah. I will add every time 10 degrees. So, like, for example, we add now here 2, 1, 3, yeah, which is 10 nautical 10 degrees off track here, and then also 10 degrees, so to 23, to 33, to 43, and so on. Yeah, this is something we will do and change every 10 degrees. Yeah, and when we're flying this arc, so that means I will show you now. Later on we will fly this heading here. So we will fly this heading, and you will see the needles will come there every time inbound to this radial. And once we reach it, we will set the next track here, minus 10 degrees, and then we adjust our course here minus 10 degrees. You will see that later when we're flying this arc manually. Yeah. So we add this still at this here. So that means we have 263, 273, 283. So 273 is the point we will start from this here, and this is 80 degrees, so we have 240 here on the backtrack. 260 there, and so we have 263 is the way we will start after our initial approach fix here for our inbound course. Yeah, so this is the way we will start. 263, then 253, 243, 233, 223, 213, and then 203, and then we will follow the ILS here. And once we reach our fab point here, then we'll do our circling round about the airport and flying visual landing on 020. This is where you want to go. So, will be very interesting today. Good, let's take a look how far we are away from our top of descent. 215 nautical miles, so everything is fine. Half hour to go. So we continue, and normally we will set there the minimums, yeah, for the ILS landing, but we won't do an ILS landing. We will do the circling landings. Yeah. At first, what we need to check is, can we do a circling landing? And we'll check the meter here. We have a visibility of 8,000 feet. NCD, let's take a look what NCD means. I mean, NCD wiki, and check the maker decodation. NCD. That means no clouds detected. Yes. So we have no clouds there, and this is always written when we have an automatic station there for the airport. So this automatic generated weather, no cloud they detected, but a visibility of 8,000 feet. So the visibility is in range, and we can do the circling. Yeah. And then we will do or use this minimums here. This is the minimum desired altitude, yeah, not the height altitude, because we do not read radio altimeters. We use the barometers, and yes, the max knots speed what we have. So I will expect the next thing is, what is our landing speeds? Yeah, is it 160, 150, 150-200 or anything else. So this is the next thing we want to know. So let's go jump into our plane here. We're on the right page, and you will see we have now actually a fuel of 4.0 tons on board, and we will arrive there round about 2.6 tons. That we have now 1.4 tons to burn when we are reaching our airport. So we will subtract this here. That means we have 65.2 tons. Yeah, 65.2. By the way, we can do now our landing fuel and weighting calculation. Yeah, landing performance. Landing runway will be 0 to 0, as I said. Air conditioning is dry. Wind will come from 350 with 4 knots. 350 with 4 knots. This is something we will do now. The yacht is 10 degrees. And the QNH is 1025. 1025. And landing weight, as I said, is 65.2 tons. 65.2 tons. Yes. So, another thing. The re-ref at. You see, we follow every restriction there, and we come step by step to each thing. Yeah, we are near Casablanca now. And there's Frontera, so we have some time. Jump into my calculation chart as I wrote. You'll find this in the description. We will try to find our approach value. Zibo added this performance landing calculation calculator, which is working fine, and this value is automatically calculated. But before, and also I use this every time before, I made this calculation here. As I said, we have 33 degrees of misalignment track, 350, and heading is of the runways 023, so we have 33 degrees of misalignment, and we use 35, and we have a wind less than 10 knots. You see that here, 4 knots, less than 10 knots, so we use this here, and we get the value of 5, which is always the re-ref plus 50% headwind component. So this 50% headwind component is the value you will enter into the FMC. Yeah, this is calculated. Yeah, the headwind component, the 50%. There are no guests, so we can leave this here. So we have a re-ref plus 50% headwind component, which is 5 at the moment. Yeah, and we are on the limits of 20 knots here for the manual landings. So this is quite fine. As I said, crosswind 35 degrees, 10 knots is 6 knots of crosswind, so which is also in the limits of 33 degrees. So this is quite fine. So we are under operational limits here to land, and we know that we have to add a value of plus 5. So with correction 5 is correct and also calculated here. What is the landing distance? 2,308 meters. So normally we will do a flaps 30 landing. So let's take a look at the chart. How long is the runway and where's the entry point? Back, airport, and airport chart. Loading, and we need later on the parking gates also. So take a look there. This is our airport, and we have an entry at the end and the star at the beginning. We will arrive here on runway 02. There's no fast exit line as we come from the other side, so it makes no sense if we have Echo 2, Echo 3 or Echo 1. If we are leaving here, we have some time to switch on the APU and everything else to get to the apron. So this is quite fine. And where's our apron here? I think we can use all of this. I think, yeah, there are some points here. The apron A, we will see what we will use. That means we can use a full runway length here of 2,300 meters, and this is something we will do. So I will check here on flaps 30. and you will see we have to be there on flaps 3 with his full weight. Yeah? And if you're getting there, I will do some manual brakings, but this very performance landing is always calculated with less idle thrust. That means normally, especially in the night, you don't lose any thrust reverse, just in the idle mode to get noisy brakings and to get cooler brake temperatures. Yeah, that means this idle reverse is usable up to 60 knots. Below 60 knots, you don't feel this. Besides, when you are doing a manual landing, you're there on when reaching wet conditions there on the wet runway, then the reverses are very important, and then you will use mostly fully reverse thrust to get the plane stopped, because this is the only way to get the plane down. The ABS won't work there, and you get slippery. So when it's wet, you use full reverse. That's a safety reason. So we will now use auto brakes 2, auto brakes 3. This is the way we need to go. We can set this here, and we know that we will leave the runway Echo 2 or Echo 1. So this is something we will do. So okay, now we know we have a flaps 30 landing and wind correction of +5. So the misalignment track is 202, so I adjusted this track here. So 108 with 9 knots, 108.90 as RLS frequency is set. 10890, I will set this there on standby frequency also. 108.90. Good. Our VOR was 10993. Set this here. VOR is 11000. This is we need first, and we also can set here the NDB, which is 433. And also on standby on the second one. For 33. Put on the needles there for the manuals. And now the NDB is set. And the VR is also set here. So, Jerez is tuned in. Good. We are ready. We talked about the minimums, the landing category, yeah? The landing speeds, which we need for the circling to set our NDA height. Yeah? We now calculated the approach speed, which is 153. That is the arrival speed we will get there. So that means we are in the middle of both maximum sits here, and this is the max value, so that means we will use 180, which is the minimum decision altitude of 970 feet. This is the value we will set here for the minimums. 970 feet. As barometric height. This is not an ILS landing. Yeah, this is a high precision approach. This is a non-precision approach because we are doing a circling landing. Yeah, that means the decision height to say that we will see the circling. You always have to keep the runway in sight. Yeah, if you lose the connection to the runway and you do not know where you are, then you have to perform a turnaround or go around. Yeah, so keep in mind you have to be with visibility connected to the runway, and This is a non-position approach, so the missed approach height is higher than on a precision landing system. Yeah. So normally we're on Canaria Charlie and it's 337 feet compared to 970, just nearly 3 times of this here. Yeah. And we need a visibility of 2,400 meters, which is quite fine. We have 8,000. So we are ready to go. We can do a circling landing and everything is fine from there. Good. Meanwhile, we adjust our track here. Take a look where we are. I want to add our fix here and do our manual descent point. Normally I will add our arrival runway. This is nearly where we are at our VOR. So I will do now the thumb rule, which is 3 times our flight level here. So flight level is 350. So that means 3 times. So we have 90 nautical miles, 105 nautical miles, and we add 10 nautical miles to our level of flight level 100. So we have 115 for our manual descent point here, 115. And then we will see where's our arrival, and we are less than nautical miles ahead, and you will see our top of descent calculated from the FSC is a little bit later. Yeah. So we can start manual descent there. Good. Pressurization altitude, we will check now here our landing calculation, which is 93 feet. So 100 is fine. This is correct. Transition level is 070. We have also set this here. And ground tower frequency is set 11850. Then we are ready to go. And yes. Then we can see that we will do the ASIS from the VOR, where we have to be on 3,000 feet there. This is something I will do now manually. So I mean that I will reach ASIS here on 5,000 above, and we have to descend. Oh, where's ASIS? There, 5,000 above. Hopefully this won't be a steep descent. No, I think so. Let's change this here. I want to be there on ASIS on flight level 3,000. On 3,000 feet. Yeah. So I changed this. That means we have some more time and we can concentrate flying this arc manually without any descent there. Yeah. Good. That is fine. And we can continue with our descent preparation. So we have pressurization altitude set, recall actually is checked, there's no issues. Auto brakes is set to 3 as calculated. Landing dangler, re-rev is flaps 30 with flaps 30 with 148 knots and 5 correction of +5, so we have 153 as minimums, and the approach briefing is completed. So as talked, we will fly their our approach, reaching ASIS, and then flying the manual arc here. Good. Okay. Let's talk about our circling to land. So, what you will do with the circling to land, or what you will do when circling at the runways. That means you will stay here in gear down flaps 15 approach configuration, all the way down here, up reaching this height here. Yeah. Normally we will say that you will reach the minimums here. You will use, so that is 970 feet. So we will set there our altitude to 1000 feet. So we do not want to get below of 1000 feet, which is our decision height. So we will stay there at 1000 feet, and once we reach this 1000 feet here, and we will see the runway, we will break out here 45 degrees to the left, because circling to land, okay, we can circle left or right, there's no restriction as I see. Normally you may see here a restriction not to the left or not to the right, or above or below. There's no restriction, so we can circle on both sides as you want. So we will do our circling to the right side here, that we can better see the runway. So we approach here and then turn right 45 degrees here, yeah, from the track. So we have 248, yeah, and then we will follow this track here once we are leveled for a few seconds, and we have to add and subtract our wind calculations there. So let me look here. How is the exact calculation? Just take a look here. Short a minute. The calculation, where it is. I mean, I had your document. Where is it? Yes, there it is. So that means we have to be there on G down flaps 15 as I talked when we reach our ILS here, and we continue there reaching this minimum decision altitude of 1000 feet. Then you turn right on 45 degrees downwind here, and this now how long? Once we are leveled, then we fly 20 seconds, and we have to add or subtract half of the tail or headwind. Yeah, so we know that the winds will come from north here from 350. That means we have tailwind. Yeah, we will see the tailwind component there on the progress page 2. Yeah, which is very important for us. So we will see there on the progress page 2. We'll see, and we have to add half of the headwind in seconds. So that means maybe, for example, we get 13 headwind, so we have to add 20 minus the tailwind component, so the half is 7. Yeah, that means we will subtract, and then we have 13 seconds flying here level off. Yeah, then we will get parallel to the runway, following the threshold. Once we're reaching the threshold, there's some same calculation, or nearly the same calculation. We have to add, we know we are 1000 feet above ground level, and you will start a timer there, and that means we divide our altitude height, our height to 100 feet. That means we have 10 seconds, yeah, and we use every 3 seconds for 100 feet we are above the ground. So we have to add then, we are now 1000 feet above, so we have to fly then 30 seconds up from the threshold, yeah, and then we can turn in and fly into the turn into the runway. For the 30 seconds beam the threshold, we also have to add their half entertainment and headwind component. Yeah, we need this. Good. Also, there will be a tailwind, so we have to be less than 30 seconds. Good. Maybe I can add this here. Can add this here to the chart. Save. Desktop. Okay, let's check here. Desktop. Yes, it will be a good thing here, I think. So, page 101. This is fine. And print as PDF. And then you will see what I mean. Circling. Okay. Add this PDF. Document. Explain aircraft Boeing 737. Aircraft, explain the resources, plugins, charts. That is RAWDATA. Charts, yes, there we are. I just added it, and now we will have it inside of our briefings here. There it is, circling. So this is what I talked about, yeah. That means we will fly our approach, yeah. Then we will turn right 45 degrees with gear down flaps 15, flying here 20 seconds and minus half of tailwind or plus headwind component, depending on the winds. Normally when you do a circling you will have tailwind, yeah. And then once reaching there, backtrack, you will reach the threshold. You will fly here every 100 feet and 3 seconds ago. Once for 100 feet you are above the ground. So we are 1000 feet and then we will fly 30 seconds minus the half tailwind component. And then we continue flying there on landing flaps and circling inside the runway. So what we are doing also is flying here. We enter this line here. Oh, we are near the top of descent. I will now set 10,000 feet as first altitude that we can descend. And let's do our fixed page here. The next fixed page is our runway, yeah. That means we are on runway 02 and we add our circling area, which is 4.5. That means we have to stay there in 4.5 round about the threshold here. And we also want to add a line here, which is in this time we have a landing track of 204, we're at 294, I think. 294. 294. So let's check. Blind mode. X. Step. Yes, there you will see that. That is what I talked about. Yeah. That is the circling area here, which is 4.5 nautical miles. We have to stay there inside this area, and this is a threshold line I created. Yeah. Oh, we have 202. That means we have 292 there. So fixed page 292 slash. And we also add this here at this track, so that means 202, that we can continue how to fly their approach. So these are the lines and circlings we add here on the map page. It looks quite full there, but this is fine. So now we are reaching our top of descent. We are still descending there as planned. Now it will be funny. Let me take a look if there's any ATC controller available at the moment. No, there's no one on Sevilla. If there's anyone landing there in Frontera besides me, no, only there's someone boarding. So that's very good. Yeah, I'm still not connected to the network. Also fine. Okay, we're doing an offline flight. No problem, there's no ATC controller online. Oh my god. Okay, not a deal. Okay, we're passing flight level 300. So we are back on 25 degrees. And we are descending. So let's just go through all this. Yeah, we set here our others initial approach fix. Then we will continue with our DME arc. We will fly manually. Yeah, as I said, I will start with our inbound cost of 265, and then I will subtract every 10 degrees here once reaching this and set the heading. Yeah, which is quite fine. And then we fly the arc manually and turn into the ILS system. We will fly there, but we will do not an ILS landing. So that means if you are approaching with the approach button, you cannot get out of the ILS, then you have to disconnect everything from there. So we will descend there manually. Yeah. Good. Do we have an VOR approach there? ILS. Cause this will be nice. NDB. Localizer 0. Yeah, yes is something we will do there. Perfect. Others. I will change it again here on 3000 feet. As we said. So now we will fly there the VOR approach, which is quite fine. Land mode, legs, step there through. Yes, that's pretty the same. Difference is that we have only the guidance from ourselves. and we use Wiener for descending there on the arrival. Yeah, you see we will start the glide slope to on. That means we do not activate the approach button, but we will only fly here with localizer, and Wiener will bring us down, and we'll set up 1000 feet to the altitude. So keep that in mind. If you're circling, do not fly the ILS with the approach button, because then the disconnects won't work. Good. There we are. I will now go to the second page where we need our crosswind landings here. And I will say now to the crew, hello my friends. We are on the descent. Oh, there's the coast of Spain. Cadiz. So now no winds actually available, so or no bad weather conditions expected. Just update the latest meter here. Oh, there's no wind, but we will do the circling also. 1025 is still valid. There are no huge changes there on the wind. Visibility is the same. Winds are 0, so we can land on both. That's no problem. But I will do the circling today, as we prepared. So we will do this now and flying the manual arc. So it's always good to do such manual procedures from time to time, that you have to be there in mind how to do that. The same for me as sometimes ahead, and yes, if you keep it in mind and do this again and again, you do not lose your knowledge, which is very important for a pilot. A good pilot is always learning. So let's check our charts. We have to be at 5000, so we can set now 5000, which is good. So our next altitude here, or restriction, above 5000. And let's pull out the air brakes. And we can set now the local QNH here, because there's no controller available at the moment, and that means there's no one who gives us restrictions to stay above flight level 10, flight level 100, and we are now cleared below. It means 5000 feet, and so we can set those barometric value there directly to the local QNH. So that's quite fine. It's the same procedure for the departure. Yeah, if you're clear to flight level 350, you can immediately set your standard QNH there. So we are approaching others. As I said, I want to stay there below and want to reach 3000 feet. Others as 3000 is maybe not possible, because we have to be there at 5000. We stay there on 5000, though. And I will set now the manual speed, because I want to slow down a little bit more, that we have more time to fly this arc. So I will get there on the flaps up speed. Good. We are now passing Flight Level 100, and there's our airport, where we'll do our landing, circling landing there. So, flight 1000 feet, landing, lights, runway turnover lights. And we set also the logo lights here. Prepare now the crew for the final things here. So, PA system prepare for landing. That's something, you know, I'll do at the end of the stairs, or we are approaching the end. Let me check every seatbelt is closed and store all the trucks. So we are on flaps up speed. Let's check our weight here. We will burn 300 kilos from now, so we'll change our weight here to 65.2 tons. Roundabout. There's no changement here for the approach speed, so it's still the same. 148.5. If we burn, we have less fuel there, we will stop earlier, so that's no problem. Good. We will now continue, reaching our initial approach checks there in others. And as we said, we will fly there manually the arc, the Team A arc. So, what we are doing, set this here, the heading track. We have set the first course here on 262. You see that here, yeah? And it will change this. It returns, yeah, 262, and I will add a course there, which is 90 degrees to this track. So 262 plus 90 is 352. That is the track I want to fly at first, once I reach others. So if I reach others, I will switch to heading mode, flying this track here, 352, yes, and I will watch the DME arc, which is 12.4 at the moment, yeah, and will be there less once I reach here to this point. So this is also now RAWDATA navigation here, flying this manual arc. So we have to stay there on 5,000 feet above others, and then we will ascend 3,000 feet. And remember, we will do only a warlock approach, that we can do the circling. So 5,000 feet, this is the restriction, the level off now. This will be very interesting. That progress page 2. Circlings and DME arcs flying is Champions League, as my trainer said. So if you're doing this and you will perform this, you may know everything you want to know. So keep that in mind. We are now doing here approaching Ases. So there you will see the 10 DME arc. So I will now wiggle a little bit with the track. So 352. We want to stay there on 10 DME. So watch out. We'll now select this here, that we will reach the DME arc. So now you will see that this line is coming here. So we are flying now, reaching this, and then we'll set minus 10 degrees. So 342 and 352, and this will be same again here. Actually, we're flying at 11 DME arc. We have a problem with ASXP at the moment.
1,000 to go.
So set the next. Now I have to check the actuometer here, and also -2 and -10. Maybe ASXP is restarting the service. So you see we are now a little bit off track, so we have to turn in earlier. 192. Do now at 20. Progress there. So we set now flaps 5 and flaps 5 speed. Yes, QNH is still the same. Okay. So also now do the next heading. So now we are reaching our inbound course here. And then we will switch to command B, because we will now fly the Warlock approach. So the needle's coming. Sorry, this was a problem there with SXP, so I have to look at the meter first that everything is working. Maybe we'll do a DME arc next time, a little bit more detailed, of such a bigger DMA. So we will now set the track mode. You will see we'll fly now inbound to the radial 202 to the runway, flying the Warlock with command B. And this is pretty normal. We'll set now 3000 feet. Set this to map. We are 1000 feet above, so we'll do level change, set gear down flaps 15. Then we will reach our glide path again. Set flaps 15 speed, and we are now switch on the taxi lights for landing. And we set our missed approach altitude, or the altitude we want to stay level off, which is 1000 feet. This is fine. So, set do our approach configuration, altimeter set, and then start switches to continuous. Speed brake is armed, green lights, landing gear down 3 green, and we have flaps 15 for ground. Yeah, that's fine. So landing checklist is completed. So we're approaching here with our Warlock and GPS approach. So
$2,500.
So keep in mind we want to stay there on 1000 feet above, and we set now the 45 degrees off track. So we have 205 plus 45 degrees, so we have 247. And we will follow this track for 20 seconds. We have no actual winds for tailwind.
1,000 to go.
Slow.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
I think there must be something wrong here
Flight slow. Flight slow.
with this, because we set now the radio altimeter. That is better for us. We have 760. Okay, this is due to the ASXP. This is something I do not want. Okay,
Slow.
climb there.
Flight slow. 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 Flight slow.
We don't need this. So we stay here, this altitude. And we will now turn right. So switch to heading. Hi-Fi Sim servers crashed while we are doing the approach. Perfect. Thank you very much. So we start now the timer here on the chrono when we are leveled off. So
Flight slow.
now the wings are leveled. Watch the radio altimeter. So we have to say 20 seconds there. Remember the chart. 20 seconds. 17, 18, 19, and then we go back to 02. So now we are reaching our threshold. So for now we stop the timer here and we said we are 1000 feet above, so we have to stay there 30 seconds. So start the timer. Now 30 seconds on this track here and then we turn inbound to our runway, and we have to keep that visible inside there as a track so we know where it is. So what we can set now is flaps 30 and our approach speed was 153.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
So
Flight slow.
turn the headings.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
Calm down, fly manually here. So where's the threshold? There it is. You can look here at this needle to follow the track. We are now on full approach configuration. Set the bankings there to 30.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
Yeah, we're a little bit overshoot here. Okay, so be prepared. We're bringing this baby now down. Disconnect the outer throttle. So, and to red, to right. We are perfect height and the circling.
Approaching 02. 500. 400. 300. 200.
So a little bit too high, now it's perfect. 153, perfect, very good.
100.
50 feet above threshold.
50. 40. 30. 20.
And check close hold attitude. Yes. And idle reverse. Outer brakes 3. Yes.
80 knots.
As calculated, the brakings are perfect. And we can relieve Jerez. Ladies and gentlemen, we've flown our manual arc arrival and also the missed approach, not the missed approach, but the circling to land there on the other runway. So everything is fine, the braking calculations were fine. Only the fact that ASXP from HiFaSim crashed with the servers, reaching our descent on our glide slope. So thank you very much for this, for the last changes there in the last seconds. Okay, do the after checks. So landing lights off, strobe lights here also to steady, and Terra is off. Yes, weather radar is off, and terrain radar also. We can now set the VIVA off. Don't need any more at the moment. I'll start the APU. Engine start resist to continues, and probe heats to off. Switch to up and 100 knots. Set missed approach altitude there, plus 1000 feet, which is 3100. Good. Flight directors off. EGT we can stop now, and the chrono also. 2 hours and 2 minutes. Reset. So where we are, this we do not need anymore. Yes, we will go there to the right side. Set our trim to 4 units. Good. Change the light to medium. The eyes can continue with a good light here. Where's the APU? Come on. We'll use the next plate there. I need the APU. Where is it? So, we need this place here. Gate 6. Switch on off the runway and the turnover lights, and the taxi lights also. Oh, engine is not working. Engine generator. So, get a failure there. Also good. So, parking brake is set. We switch off the levers to idle. We get connected to the ground power, hopefully. Yes. Then we can disconnect the APU, which is not working anymore. Time for the service. And release the cabin crew here. Packs off, and hydraulic pumps also there. APU bleed is off, and yeah, packs we can switch off. Landing altitude is set, and open the doors. set the initial transponder code of 2000, which is fine. Yes, and then we can stop our client in the background. Good. Closed. We can set trim air to off. Got a good temperature here. Also the window heats, which are not necessary anymore. I keep... Oh, no, ILS is not aligned there. I will switch this to off here now. Also GDSDS. So, that is quite fine. Cam utility is also fine. Ground power connect. And switch off the gear pumps. And that was all for now. Yes, it is. Stabilizer steady, localizers are still on. We can open the cargo doors. And say goodbye to the people here. Thank you very much for flying here with our Terra-Fly airline. From Gran Canaria to Jerez de la Frontera in Spain. So, kick them out of the plane. Set the fuel weight and balance. It was an excellent landing. Perfect. And set the payload to 0. Very good. Circling the land and an excellent rating. That is what I want to know. Good. Terminate the flight leg. And then we prepare everything for the landing replace. That means close the doors in the cargo door base. Retract the stairs because it looks not good in the replay. Good, it's closed. We are ready to go. Disconnect the ground power. Yes, I need that in this configuration because we do not see everything then there. Good, okay, so let's start the replay. Flight replay. We will do the circling.
2,500.
1,000 feet.
There was a problem with
1,000
this
feet,
ASXP
stabilized.
disconnecting.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
So, on 1,000 feet, we turn to the left, and we see that here. Come on, want to see that? Okay. Can we change? Yes, we move there. We move here to the airport. There's circling. Jump a little bit ahead. Then we are backtrack. The 30 seconds. And then turn in. There we are. So now, switch to manual mode here. There we will come. A little bit overshoot, but that's no problem. There was a good correction. I was shortly not aligned with the heading to the runway track, so this is was 1 second we will overshoot here. A little bit faster, and then there's a turning. The descent to final. Yeah, looks very good the first time. Can we see that on the runway? There we are. Yes, smooth center-line landing, perfect and good landed. So, very good. I will go now to the last replay here. When we can see all the landings, I wish you good evening. Thank you very much for joining in here in this stream. And you see our flight here from Gran Canaria to Jerez, Frontera, with our manual RAWDATA backup departure and our manual flown DME arc on the star, and also our circling to the runway. So this was quite an exciting flight today, and wish you have a good time. Stay tuned for the next stream. I wish you all the best. Subscribe and everything else. Have a nice time. You and Kaisen. Bye bye.
Feet stabilized, Mr. Burchow.